Okay, so we're on chapter 6, and the chapter summary starts off with never miss a good chance to shut up. Okay, that's a great quote. And the chapter is about picture without sound, communication without words, how to convey good listening without words, just observing and reading body language. And that was really the core of the chapter. It was a very short chapter, and so the topic that we have is chapter 6. We can talk about that. You can also talk about what is energetically alive for you. So if you want to continue talking about what we've been talking about, you can talk about that. If you have energy around that. If there's something in your daily life with your spouse or whatever, private stuff that you feel energetic about, or partner or whatever, or talk about your experience with trying empathy stuff. I think that was what we had, like, did you try something? Did you try an empathic listening, or struggles and, pains you have? So it's a kind of a multiple choice here. So it's basically talking about what's alive in you. So let's get started. Who would like to speak, and who would like to, and then just get started and select who you'd like to speak to. We've got about 45 minutes.
Oh, who starts?
Whoever wants to, whoever raises their hand first.
Okay, I am the first.
Go for it.
I would like to talk to Ingrid. I'm super excited about what I started talking about a few minutes ago. So, Ingrid, it was just last week that I watched this. I really like this guy, this Kamau Bell person. Actually, I was in the States when I first saw him, and I said, I didn't know anything about him, but I said, oh, something's going on here. So then when I came back to Greece, I started watching his TV show, and I learned things about Sikhism, and one of them was that people have this thing on the head because they want to be reminded that whenever they find a person in need, they should go and help. What? End of the first part.
So I can feel your excitement here about this.
Excuse me, just Stefan, I muted you because we're hearing clicking sound from your. So did you say something?
Never mind.
Okay, so you're just, if you would, I can mute you just because it makes that clicking sound. So sorry to interrupt.
So this show that you watched, and his last name is Bell. Is that?
Kamau Bell.
Kamau Bell. You really connected with him, and then especially with what the show is about with religion, and it was about you couldn't believe it when a person, I assume it was a man, had something on his head, and when you heard him say that. It made one reason they wear it is that it helps them think about people in need. And so it's a constant reminder to them to be thinking of others. And it was like, and I sense that was something that you never ever thought about why they would ever wear something like that.
Right. I couldn't think that this would be connected to their religious belief to help others, and I was amazed at what these people do, and they want to practice unconditional love. You want to practice what? And I just stopped. I think I was eating, probably the fork, dropped. Just what I like it so much. It doesn't mean that all people believe 100% what they say. I don't know who the interviewee was or whatever, but the message, I just stay focused on the message come from the religion. And once again, I realized how okay, I will call it superficialities for people to think that different religions talk about different things. When if we scratch the surface a little bit, we see that all religions talk about the same the big religions, I mean, that give, offer, love, I mean, be the best version of yourself. And I was very happy once again that that an American guy, I think he was a stand-up comedian. He started like this. Had he produced such a beautiful TV show that helped me realize things that I hadn't before.
Wow. So that show was really touching to you, and it really opened up your eyes on how unconditional love can be there, but you maybe don't always see it. That a person could, that's why they could be doing something, but it's maybe not always on the surface. And then how all the major religions, it's unconditional love is a kind of a foundation behind them, but no matter what they wear or anything else, it's still that unconditional love.
Yes, and it was, I think, 2 weeks ago, I think that it was a time that you couldn't join us for some reason. And we had a discussion with Stefan. So I tried to explain that what I believe is that we don't try to be nice just because we want to be in love with our ego, but we try to do the best we can just because. So many, if not always, people tell me that, oh, you do, not me, but somebody does the right thing, let's say, because the person feels good. And I say, okay, wait a minute. When there is a firefighter who has 1-2 children and he's ready to jump into the fire to save another kid from the flames, okay, is he doing this just because he wants to feel good? Or is it just something that he does automatically because, do I have any other option? I mean, I'm a firefighter, I have to save a kid. That's it. I mean, I don't have the time to analyze it. So that's why this episode was so meaningful to me, because yes, unconditional love, even in this very competitive society, can exist even in this very competitive society today. Yes, there are people who can give everything. Okay.
So do I go ahead and reflect back? So this episode just was extremely touching to you, and you're just like, you just couldn't believe it, what the message was that you got from it. And one of it was related to the unconditional. I got a little confused because I heard, why do people sometimes do the things that they do? Are they doing it for their ego, or are they doing it maybe for a more altruistic reason? Because you mentioned about the firefighter going in and saving a child or something, and exactly why, what's the meaning behind why they are doing that. But I didn't hear, I think I lost part of what's going on.
Okay, then I can just continue this next time when I have the next turn.
The next turn.
Thank you, Ingrid.
Exactly.
I don't know what to talk about. I'll go with Stefan, and
I unmuted you, Stefan. Just it's clicking a little with your thing, so but you're okay. Should be able to speak now. Sorry.
Okay. So I was excited to hear when you mentioned about the competencies, and in a way, you're wanting to really professionalize this course, make it professional, so that it can be certified. People can get certification for it. And so I'll stop there.
You can see possibilities in this thought that I presented that excite you.
Yes, that's exactly right. And then when Demetra mentioned skills, documenting what skills are needed in order to be successful in this, that aligns quite nicely with the competencies, because, you know, competencies also are often about skills. They mention you need to be competent in reflective listening, or it talk more about what that is.
So if we can rein Edwin in a little bit. And not to dissuade from his. Sorry, no, I'll stay on that. We can use these competencies to drive our conception of the MOOC and what we want to make sure that we're teaching people.
Yes. I don't want to rein Edwin in, because I like his excitement, and I really like how he goes out and, you know, tries to, it's really big picture thinking, and I really appreciate all the different places he's just going for it, you know, and not too many people can just do that.
You have a love and an abiding affection for the enthusiasm for which Edwin brings to this topic.
Yes, I do. And then I'm curious if Edwin really sees it as actually something. I know I can't ask him now, but if that's a goal, is a goal of the course to get it certified. And because, you know, that makes a big difference. If it's not a goal of the course, if it's not a goal, then you would approach it a lot differently compared to if it is a goal.
Mm-hmm. So you're wondering where this all leads, and you know, you want to be you want to be inside Edwin's head and know what he's thinking about this. Yeah.
And your reflections have connected with me quite a bit. And I've noticed you've been able to, Edwin had sent me the motivational interviewing training manual, and in there it lists kind of like 4 different levels of reflection.
Right.
And the first one is a little bit like parroting. But anyway, you actually kind of rephrased it in different weren't really my words, but rephrased it in a way that connected with me.
I'm glad that I'm glad that you feel heard, and
that's okay. I feel fully heard.
Okay. So I guess I will. I'm gonna give it back to you. You know, I think as a man, I think men are not as good at empathy as women are, just biologically, genetically, and you know, from the outset, I noticed that you were particularly quite gifted in in empathy, and often your reflections are at a secondary, tertiary, quaternary level.
So you have a belief that there's a difference in the way that women are better at empathy.
Yeah.
And that you've also noticed that I mean, you complimented me on the way that I give empathy.
Yes. Yeah. I personally feel that I don't do a very good job of providing empathy. My baseline innate ability is not too good. So that's why I really need to work at this.
So you wish you could give empathy better. Your skill set would be a little bit better than what it is.
Yes. Yeah, that's why I'm here.
And that's a big motivation for coming to joining this group.
Yes. And I'm very appreciative to everyone in this group, and I think this is just such a wonderful and I don't know how. I'm hoping that Edwin is married to the prince or princess of Brunei or something, because all this effort and work that Edwin has clearly put into this, I'm sure maybe some of it does amend itself to some kind of monetary something monetary, but it looks like a lot of it comes out of just a deep altruism and love and appreciation that Edwin has for these for the power of empathy to change lives. Wow.
So you're really grateful for this group, and also for what Edwin, everything that he does to do all the coordination of the group, and you hope that in some way he's compensated for it in some way.
Or either he's married rich and can just
right.
and can do this at his leisure.
Or that he doesn't really have to worry about money or anything, that he can just do it.
Do his passion.
Do his passion. Yeah.
Because it's clearly his passion. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah. Thank you. I feel heard.
Okay. So I don't know what to say. Someone else can go.
Step one, select who you want to speak to. Just say, I don't know what to say. Or
okay.
Okay,
Edwin,
pass it. Okay.
I'll speak to you. I don't know what to say, but I did write down, I'm definitely going to look up that CNN, the person that Demetra really liked a lot, try to watch that show. And I also noticed...
I can send it to you if you like.
Yeah, do.
I can send it to you, yes, definitely, right away.
Okay. And then I was also the reference Edwin mentioned about compassionate learning. So I did think of something to talk about.
Mm-hmm. Okay, first you didn't have anything to talk about, and you want to just pass it on to someone, but then you were thinking, you wanted to follow up on what Mimi was saying with her about the video, and then another thing came up too about that you wanted to follow up. So actually you have a bunch of things to say now.
So the chapter is about, to me, I can't remember though if it was more about I remember the title was A Picture Without Sound. Is it more about me as an active listener watching the speaker's body language?
Mm-hmm.
But then there's also the part of what I look like and how I respond to what am I doing with my face, what am I doing with my hands, in order that the speaker knows I'm listening. I'm not sure, maybe it talked about both of those aspects.
So you're trying to remember what the chapter was about, and is it you're kind of trying to recall what it is? Is it about reading people's unspoken movements or attitudes of the speaker, or is it of the listener, or is it of both? So you're just trying to remember which exactly he was kind of pointing out, and you weren't quite remembering.
And I think it's hard when you're listening to, I mean, besides looking at them and stuff, but it's hard to, you know, you can't move too much, or because it could be distracting. So sometimes it's, to me, it can be kind of hard to know exactly what to do besides looking at them and kind of nodding my head.
You're just speaking from your own experience that when you listen to someone and you're just not sure what to do, if you're like flailing around, moving around, that might kind of be distracting. And you're just the movements you see is just, you know, sort of nodding your head, and that's sort of where you see the, so you're kind of curious about it and just thinking about it.
Right. And then now I'm going to change the topic 100%. So my husband came in today. This isn't a husband. He won't mind it. You know?
We don't have to cut the recording here. It's not that personal.
And he said, oh, I regret not giving empathy to our neighbor just now when he was talking to her. And I said, well, what happened? And he said, oh, she was saying she was, she said, oh, I wish we they just bought a new truck. And she said, I wish we could have kept the other car because it was smaller. But she said, my husband wanted a safer vehicle, and they have 3 kids. And so Chuck said, I said, I just wish I would have said something, an empathy to her. And I said, well, what did you say to her? And he said, well, at least you just have 2 cars and you have 2 drivers. Because right now we just have we had to buy another vehicle, so we have more vehicles than drivers, but we're going to be getting rid of one. But anyway, that's a prime example of what not to say. So that's it.
I just wanted to share the story of your husband who was talking with a neighbor, and instead of and he even would have liked to have empathized with her more, with her struggle, and instead he said, it's not so bad, at least. So he used an empathy block, and so he kind of has a little bit of regret around that.
Yes, I feel fully heard.
Okay. Then I'll speak to Mimi. So, I was thinking of what Stefan said about the finances. It's been a real struggle. I'm like the worst person at making this financially feasible. So I'm hoping that the training will be something we can develop that is, kind of helps with the finances. I did take early retirement, but that doesn't go very far. So I've been really bad at able to, turn this into financially viable kind of thing. So.
Okay, so what I heard was that it seems that you are not you have a little hard time when it comes to managing your finances, and even though you have you receive you are early retired, still it doesn't mean that you have the money you would like to have an easy living. So it would be great if you could have some more income, even though coming from all this empathy culture and all this, but it seems that what I hear is that it's not your main priority. I mean, you would like to have it, but it's not you don't do it just because you want money.
Yeah, it's more like a calling. Yeah, it's like I'm called to do this. This is like it just seems like the right thing to do. So, but I do need to make it, getting to the point where I need to have it kind of be more financially viable. And again, it's a training. I hope to be, leading workshops and trainings as well as some other crowdfunding kind of projects too. So that's all in the work. So the other is about certification. I heard certification come up. I think certification is great, having levels and certification that people can feel. I'm totally for that. If I saw that there's a training with through the Greater Good Science Center on Happiness, and they offer CEUs and things like that. So having CEUs, having certification, people can take the training without it, but then they pay for those, extra, for a certification, they pay for CEUs. So I'm all for, having that as a track and a way of, funding this too.
Mm-hmm. It seems that the main motivation behind all this culture of empathy is what you name as calling. So it's something much deeper than having extra money. However, at the same time, you would like to have some more income, and you really fancied Stefan's idea about certification that could bring some more money, and people could either they could attend the seminars and they could choose if they want to pay and take the certificate, or they could just go for the experience and take what they can take from the sessions. And I mean, it's not necessary for them to pay, but I can feel that you would really like it to work, and to have not only the culture of empathy as a theoretical, how can I say,
organization.
Yes,
yeah.
But also you would like to have some to help you improve your life from a financial aspect.
Yeah, and I think I would add another piece too for getting this a momentum going. People who are doing the training, facilitators need an income, and there's got to be an ongoing income for them too. That if we need this income to kind of spread it too. So there's kind of that aspect that if people can make a living doing this kind of work, that it'll spread it too.
Okay, so all this income is not something you're thinking only for yourself, but all these facilitators who are investing their time in organizing the seminars, it would be good for them to have some income as well. So all this money coming should be spread to many people whose contribution is absolutely vital for the seminars to run.
Yeah, and then another thing, I've had a couple lists of things is, people have different projects. You're going to work on your project. Inger and I are going to work on that training and on the video. And, Stefan has his work. That during the empathy circle part, we can also report on what we're doing. Was just an idea. So that could be a time to report. Plus, we get the empathic listening practice in there, too. So that was just an idea that came up.
Oh, I'm not sure I have clearly got that.
When we do the empathic listening now, we can also report on our projects that we're working on.
Okay. It's a short comment. I would really like to understand how you mean this report, but it seems that you're really interested in how we can just, during our empathic listening part of our session, we could also report on what we're doing, except for working on our individual projects, like the one you're going to run with Ingrid, Stefan's, and my project.
Yep. And then finally, after this meeting, in an hour, I'm going to be doing empathic listening with someone from the right wing who's going to be coming to Berkeley to rally. So I'm trying to listen to both sides. I want to do these little empathy listening practices where they can talk about their issues, like, they like Trump or they hate Trump or whatever. And then we're going to record those and post them. And then I'm trying to bring the people together to do like an empathy circle with conflicting sides. So there'd be a little bit of, so that's like a little project too that I'm working on. And actually anybody here could, as practice, you could listen too, on the outside too, offer a little empathic listening.
Okay, so what I heard was that in an hour approximately from now, you're gonna have some people coming from one person from the who is right from the right wing, and you're gonna practice with him the empathic listening, and the person will be recorded, and you're gonna use the recording with some other people who belong to the other side. I'm not sure I got it clearly this. and so it will be just you're gonna relate empathic listening to politics.
Yep. And my time's up. I feel heard. Thank you.
Thank you too. Oh, now I have to choose. Okay, sorry. Okay, so I can talk to Stefan. It was yes, it was a few days ago. I started reading a book, and it is called True North, and there it's about the relationship between two professors. And I found there something very interesting, another form of empathy, where the woman seemed to, she was very, she was thinking about committing suicide. And she describes her evening with this man. And while she was looking for empathy, what the man was just to share with her own experience. So he talked to her about his thoughts about committing suicide. And even though this is not very, it doesn't, it's not the same like what we do in our empathic listening practice, the person, the woman, felt fully heard. And this really attracted my attention.
Okay, so as we've been doing this course, you picked up this book, True North, and you know, the storyline or the plot is you know, about this woman who wants to commit suicide, and in the course of the book, this gentleman shares his own struggles with suicide, and she feels you know, connected to him and feels heard by him as a result of him sharing this you know, his struggles with suicide with her. And finally your thoughts about this story are that it's while it's different, it seems different from what we're doing here. It was you know, it was moving for you, and you know, showed the many ways that we can connect with one another and show support.
Right. And I realized that even though we might have, there are different ways we can show empathy to another person. And even when we share our own experiences and we don't just stay here and listen and might repeat what the person said, this might also be a form of empathic listening, as long as the receiver of our comments feels fully heard.
So you're wondering, you know, how this fits into the empathy model when you share your own personal experience with another, and how there are different ways of expressing empathy, and each person can receive that in different ways as well.
Yes, right. Because when, I mean, I think that what people really need, no matter what way I choose each time to show my empathy, what they really need, in my view, is that I care about their experience or their story. And I might just share my own experience, or I might just keep silent, or I might just have a facial expression. I might start crying. No matter what happens, as long as I really want to to be connected to the other person, I think that this can make him or her feel fully heard, that I'm deeply connected, no matter my reaction.
No one's perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. Nobody's an empathy a god. But if it comes from the heart, if your intention's true, and you care about the other person, it'll all wash out in the end.
Yes, thank you, Stefana. I feel fully heard.
Thank you. Okay, so let me see. I guess I will reflect to Edwin.
Okay.
All right. So again, I can't praise Edwin enough for every time I'm a Google research freak, and I've combed every corner of the internet, but Edwin has too, and he's already been there way before I have.
So you go searching the internet for kind of empathy-related material, you see that I've already been there before you.
Yes. So I'm hoping that so what I've recognized, it's important that we identify one another's strengths, and clearly, Edwin's strength is this just immense ability to bring people together, a variety of different people from all walks of life, who share a common passion or love of this of empathy and of changing the world and making the world a better place, and I'm just, but I also, I think what I maybe I'm hearing is that, it also comes at some expense for Edwin, that he hasn't really, maybe he would like to hone or focus this project, and it looks like, it's starting to move that way.
So you're seeing that everyone has different skills that they have, and the one that you see that I have is sort of a convener, being able to bring people together. So you're just acknowledging that and identifying that, and it's the aspect of how to bring all this together that you're seeing. There is sort of movement towards that, I guess. Maybe how to bring the MOOC together and sort of identifying that it does seem to be coming together. That's what I was sort of understanding.
Yeah, I mean, and every time I look at it, I notice it's even bigger than I thought it was. It's larger. It's more encompassing than I had realized. The more I look at what you've already put together. And I'm hoping to match my skills, which are very different than yours, and hopefully we'll come up with a positive outcome together. I'm not very good at and not very cross-disciplinary, although I appreciate it immensely, abilities, but I'm good at getting a template and a model, and drawing on others' genius to bring to translate and bring something to other people that they wouldn't have otherwise experienced.
Mm-hmm. So you're kind of building on that everyone has different strengths, and that and how do we merge those different strengths and skills, and that you're saying that about your strength is to create a template and kind of merge things around the template, or create a structure and then bring different material into that structure. Or
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there more, or do you?
I don't know. Do I have any more time? 30
seconds.
Okay, 30 seconds. there's a whole other field. Well, there's kind of two big fields out there. There's the whole compassion thing, mindfulness-based compassion. There's Kristen Neff. There's Eric. There's Germer. There's all these folks who. But I at the end of the day, I think the concept of empathy is a better one, and more encompasses compassion, and I think I I'm gonna go with you in your camp, and hope. I think you've got it. I think you've got the right idea, and I think also it's the one that is going is going to lead to more translation of practical utility of it across various industries, disciplines, and things.
So you're saying there's sort of different camps, different things people are focusing on, like there's a mindfulness community and then the compassion community or self-compassion, like with Chris Germer and Kristen Neff. And you also see there's like an empathy, what we're doing here with the empathy, and you're going with this one because you see that it has the most potential and is kind of the most practical across a wide variety of fee areas, as well as that the compassion is sort of included as part of that. So it has a broader, more encompassing approach. So you're kind of appreciating that, and that's why you're kind of going with it.
And one last quick thing, as I recently told you, Bill Miller did publish another textbook recently. It's around the same time as he published Listening Well, which is called Lovingkindness. And I think this is interesting because and to be honest, I purchased it. I haven't read it yet, but it looks like it is really about the intention component or the moral empathy component. We want to listen to others because we believe that there's something inherently good about other people, that people that have worth, and we want to share this loving kindness in relation with people.
Mm-hmm. So there's the Loving Kindness book. You're seeing it as giving motivation, sort of underlying motivation for this work. That it comes out of a sense of care and
just like Dimitri's talking about. Yeah.
It's about the care as well as seeing the humanity of everyone. And you didn't quite use that word, but it's seeing the sort of the common humanity of everyone, and that's so. So it sounds like you're excited about reading that too.
Yeah, and I guess the last thing is, Dimitra is hell bent on us really coming along with this deep sense of just caring for people. And as a male, it's just really hard for me to get in on it. But I'm kidding. But there's a sense, Dimitri is really, to me, expressing this. What's often now labeled as a feminist care ethics.
Yeah, so you're saying that Dimitra is sort of holding space for this sense of care. So as we dialogue here, she always brings this sense of care up. And you're doing a little self-depreciation. No, just putting yourself down a little.
Deprecation.
Deprecation. That's the word. That men don't care as much. And so you're glad, and that you're even seeing that there's a bigger picture of this. It's this whole ethics of care that it kind of fits in with that.
Yes.
Mm. Okay, and that was your time too. And so that's it. We're kind of coming to an end. I feel like we could go on for another hour or so. I have a lot of things I'd love to say, and I'm sure everybody else does too. But we'll bring it up. Got to hold it till next week, and So I guess for closing, just checking in, how does everyone feel, and what is your shared motion? Who would like to, wants to jump in? Looks like
Can I
you're
say
moving.
something?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. First, I would like to tell to Ingrid that I have sent the link in case you haven't noticed.
Thank
the
you.
other thing, you're welcome. My pleasure. I hope you really like it as much as I did. And the second is I really like to thank Stefan for his kind comments. And I just, from the bottom of my heart, I believe that, yes, love is something that is a realistic situation, and if this world still exists, it's because some people who don't know them, they practice unconditional love, and they keep the world moving. So it's not anything romantic or rosy. Oh, I love and I care about you. No, it is just I truly believe that when somebody can be a giver and just care, and knows that the other person might not even appreciate it, but keeps being a caring person, then this is where all the magic lies. Through pain. It's not easy. It's very painful. So I'm very happy for being with you for another Monday night. Thank you very much, all of you.
And what's your motion?
Motion. I think that I'm on cloud 9, I could say. So I could just like to just draw a cloud, with my finger. I'm somewhere. There's just a cloud. This is how I feel. I'm very happy. Thank you all.
Okay. Great. Ingrid, you want to go?
I just feel like I'm not sure what the word is, but I feel comfortable. Just kind of, maybe it's comfortable in my own skin. Isn't that funny how just something certain motions come?
Yeah, I really enjoy the motions. I guess I'll go next. I feel like there's about a half dozen things I want to talk about. I want to follow up on this whole ethics of care. I've interviewed a bunch of the folks in the ethics of care community. Michael Sloat, who wrote the empathy, and I interviewed him, and he talks about empathy being the gateway to the ethics of care. And so there's all this stuff I want to talk about, but I feel I got to kind of hold back on it. So holding back, hold back on it. Let's see it. Come on. That's it.
It takes us a while.
Hold back. Okay, you got it.
Sorry, I can only use one hand.
Okay, that's fine. You're up.
Well, is it my turn?
Yeah.
Okay. Just thank you to everyone. Every time I join you guys, I feel that I come out better on the other side. And I certainly began this session very frazzled and other-centered, but through talking with everyone and everyone helping me to understand my own mental state better, I'm in a more calm and relaxed place as I leave.
And what does that look like?
Oh, just chill.
Oh,
Just chill, straight.
Oh, like this. Okay.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Thanks. And we had set our intention to foster a culture of empathy. We want to take that chilled feeling with us out into the community, and that groundedness, and spread it with our neighbors, right? Be empathic with our neighbors. And blow that intention out to the world. So deep breath. And last time the smoke kind of bothered my partner, so I'm going to like really put this out really quickly. So there we go. Okay, great.
Take care.
Take care.